Hey everybody, this is Peter from the North Carolina State Bar. We'll get started here in just a minute or two. Thanks for joining us on this YouTube live stream to go over the 2023 annual report and give a chance to review the new CLE rules and answer any questions. If you have questions, please, you can put them in the chat. We're going to be monitoring that. I'll make sure to take a look at it. And other members of our team are going to be looking at it to try to answer some questions. You can always email us with questions at the CLE department. My email is pbolac@ncbar.gov. If you have particular questions about the annual report or the new CLE rules. Let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll do a little walkthrough of the annual report process. Okay, so 2023. Now, you've heard of all these new rules that are coming into place. They are not effective until March 1st, 2024. So this CLE year that we're completing right now, finishing up in of the, that we're currently in the grace period for 2023, those rules were unchanged. You had a 12-hour requirement, 2 ethics hours, technology, and then whether or not your mental health substance abuse hour was required to take that as well. And because they're unchanged, we have one more annual report that is currently out now and available in your portal, and that is due by the end of this month. That's February 29th this year, since we're in a leap year. This will be the last annual report that you're ever have to file with North Carolina. Part of the rule change is eliminating the annual report requirement, and I'll talk about the rules after we do a little walkthrough of this annual report. In the annual report, you'll see that there's also the assessment for the 2024 annual attendance fee, which is a new annual attendance fee. I'll talk about that a little bit, but really we've eliminated that $3.50 per hour attendance fee that you've been paying for the last 30 years or so, whether or not your sponsors paid it or you paid it. You're not going to get those bills for $11 or $15 from the state bar going forward in exchange for this annual fee of $25 for anyone who's not exempt from CLE. So here's a little walkthrough of the annual report. You're going to log into your portal. You can go to portal.ncbar.gov, or you can get to it from our homepage. Log in with your bar ID and password. If you don't know, if you've forgotten your password, you can click the Forgot Password button here, and it'll send you a temporary password to the email that we have on file. We get into the annual report. You have your standard instructions page that you need to make sure you click Acknowledge to move on to. If you move on without clicking that box and you get to the end, it's gonna tell you can't submit the form. So just remember to make sure you click that I acknowledge box here. This year we're collecting voluntary pro bono reporting information for the Equal Access to Justice Commission, the Pro Bono Resource Center. It's something that in the past you would go to their website to report, but we are collecting this information on their behalf. This is voluntary. You can skip this screen without entering any information, but otherwise you click the little drop down arrow and report the hours of pro bono that you've done in 2023, knowing that if you have reported 50 hours or more, you can get recognized for the Pro Bono Honor Society for 2023. Now you'll be taken to your exemptions page. The first page is the exemption for 2023. So if in 2023 you qualify for one of the exemptions shown on your screen, make sure to select that. Otherwise, you can click the No Exemptions box here, and it will fill no in for all of these particular exemptions. Submit or save and go to the next page. This year, we're also doing the exemptions going forward for 2024. So if right now you qualify for one of these exemptions in 2024, go ahead and claim it. If you are exempt in 2024, you will not be assessed the $25 annual attendance fee. If you later this year become exempt, you'll be able to go into the portal and claim your exemption or contact the CLE department to become exempt. However, the annual attendance fee is not going to be refundable once it's paid. So if you are exempt now, go ahead and claim it. Then you'll be taken to your compliance summary, and just keep in mind that this compliance summary reflects hours that you've taken through the end of December 2023. You may have taken courses in January and February that are not showing up on this compliance summary or on the next page of the CLE transcript, and that's fine. The annual report is really supposed to cover that just the 12-month period. The courses that you take during this last grace period are likely not going to show up. That's okay. This report that you submit does not have to show all of the hours that you've taken, including the grace period of January and February of 2024. It's really one of the reasons why we're getting rid of this requirement. It doesn't necessarily reflect the hours that you're taking for this entire CLE compliance year. If this looks all good to you, hit Save Next. It's going to take you and actually show you your CLE transcript. If there's a course you want to remove, you can do that. Again, note here at the bottom that you do not need to add courses that you've taken during the grace period to your record. That's going to get automatically added when the sponsors report that attendance by the end of March, and that will get added to fix any showing any kind of deficit or make sure it shows all the courses that you've actually taken. Once you've done that, you're going to have the verification screen that will show you all of the information you've submitted, and it's going to take you to this annual CLE attendance fee payment page. If there were courses that you needed to add because you did take them in 2023, you could go back to that page and add a course. You can search our directory to add a course if necessary, if you've taken it actually in 2023 and it doesn't show. If you need to upload a page, upload a course application or a application for speaker's credit, you'll be able to do that on the course application process screen that I've just skipped over. But again, you don't need to add courses on that page that you took in January and February. Those are going to be added when the sponsors submit attendance. So it's only if there's a course that you took in calendar year 2023 that doesn't show up that you want to try to add, then you can go ahead and do that. You get to the attendance fee page. If you were exempt for 2024, then you are not going to get this page. You're not going to be assessed that $25 fee. But if you're not exempt, you'll get to this page, and you can either pay with a credit card. There'll be a 50-cent convenience fee for credit card, or you can pay with an e-check for with no convenience fee at all. Or you can still this year select print mail invoice, print it out, and mail in a check to the State Bar for the $25. Once you complete this payment page, it's going to automatically submit your annual report. So you go ahead and finish that up and submit it, and you'll get your confirmation page. It will email you a receipt. If you did the mail print invoice option, it'll mail you or email you a copy of the invoice for you to print out and mail in a check to the State Bar. So that's the annual report. It's pretty straightforward. It's a lot like it has been in past years, except for with the addition of the attendance fee, the 2024 exemption, and the voluntary pro bono reporting page. I'm going to hop on here and make sure, see if we have any questions. Yeah, we'll put the email address in the chat for sure. Joe, you can go ahead and put mine in there. And now we'll go to a little bit of a review of the CLE rules changes that are going to affect in 2024. The first, as I said, is the elimination of that credit hour fee of $3.50 in exchange for the annual attendance fee. The ABA, when the ABA looks at the cost of practice in North Carolina for years, they added $42 to the cost of practice in addition to your dues and client security fund fee, because that's $3.50 times 12. Most of the time, that's going to be paid by your sponsor or be included in your registration fee. But I think most of us have received a bill at some point for some course that we took that was not covered by the sponsor. This eliminates that and just has a flat $25 annual CLE attendance fee, which is a deal if you're comparing it to that $42 that was collected in the past. The biggest one probably is a move to a 2-year reporting period. So instead of having 1 year to do 12 hours, lawyers are going to have 2 years to do 24 hours, four ethics, 1 technology, 1 professional well-being hour, which is just the new name for the mental health substance abuse hour. And you'll be able to take those hours at any time during that 2-year period. If you want to do all 24 in the first year because you have some downtime, that's fine. If you want to split it up, or if you want to hopefully not do it all in the last month or so, that would be a lot of hours to try to take. But you'll have that flexibility. And that's really was the goal of all of these rules, was to increase the flexibility for lawyers and improve the efficiency of administrating the program for the CLE staff. So we've moved to a 2-year period. There is an exception for 2024. Half of the bar in 2024 is going to have a 1-year 12-hour requirement. And that's so we can create that stagger. So we have half of the bar coming due every year to have the end of their compliance period come every year for half of the bar. And I'll talk about that here in a little bit. We've also eliminated the annual report requirement. If we're tracking your hours, it's in your portal. If it says you're compliant, we kind of decided there's really no need for you to have to go in and click a button to say that the record's correct and that you remain compliant. It's another potential risk of forgetting and getting a late fee just for forgetting to submit the report or click a button. We figured this was an easy thing to eliminate. We'll still be tracking the hours and sending out reminder emails and those kinds of things as we have in the past, but there's no requirement to go in and just click the button if you've satisfied your hours. Our original proposal, if you've been following this, the original rule proposal was going to eliminate carryover credit and just say you have 2 years to do 24 hours. Anything you do over that goes, doesn't really count to your record and resets again every 2 years. That was the number one most complained about rule change in the comments. And so we kept carryover credit. So you can carry over 12 hours from one reporting period to the next, but it's only going to carry over as total hours. So if you took 8 carryover ethics hours, it will carry over to the next reporting period, but only as 8 hours towards your 24-hour total. You're going to have to take your specialty hours, ethics, technology, professional well-being, each reporting period. So you won't be able to satisfy those from carryover credit in prior periods. We have had a lot of questions from lawyers who have taken hours during this last grace period of January, February that would normally in past years maybe apply to 2025 hours because they already had 12 carryover hours and they're taking more in January and February. If you're one of those go-getters who've always stayed ahead like that, we're going to work on some potential solutions, meeting with our CLE board this week. Maybe hopefully find some one-time solutions where you may be able to carry over more than 12 hours from in this particular situation. But going forward, it'll just be 12 hours from one reporting period to the next. I've said a few times this last grace period because this one of the changes also eliminates the grace period. We're going to have a 12-month CLE year that runs from March 1st through the end of February of the next year. We know that everybody's used to February being the CLE deadline month, so we didn't want to change that. We also didn't want to have lawyers and sponsors and staff trying to deal with compliance issues at the end of December when everyone's trying to take some vacation or there's a lot of other stuff going on in your office. To try to be scrambling to complete CLE hours was also going to seem to be a little bit too difficult. So we kept February as the end, and we just think of March 1st as New Year's Day as it relates to CLE. And there's no grace period. So whatever CLE year you're in, that's the year that those hours are going to apply to. One of the trade-offs for the increased flexibility is streamlining the enforcement of non-compliance. So failing to complete your hours by the end of February will result in a late compliance fee. Then failing to complete those hours after another deadline will result in non-compliance. And at that point, you'll be issued a suspension notice that is also combined with the notice to show cause. So instead of getting a notice to show cause and having another 45 days and then getting a suspension notice and having another 30 days, well, we're streamlining it and combining that notice to show cause with the suspension order. So if a lawyer is not compliant with hours, it's not going to be late in the year or potentially even the next year before they get suspended for non-compliance. So we're streamlining that a little bit, speed up that compliance enforcement. As you see in the annual report, you'll be able to claim your exemptions on a going forward basis. And all of that will be in the membership renewal, the dues process beginning next year. So there will only be one time when you really have to log in and do anything related to the state bar. You'll be able to do all of that, pay your dues, pay your annual CLE fee, and claim your exemptions all in the dues process beginning next year. Sponsors will have a course application fee of $50 for any course, except for free courses will not have that course application fee. And that will be paid during the course application process at the front end. That combined with the annual CLE attendance fee from lawyers the intent is to fully offset any potential deficits related to when we were collecting the attendance fee at $3.50 per hour. None of these rules were designed to increase revenue. And so as we go through these first couple of years, if we see that the revenue brought in is either too high or too low, there may need to be adjustments. But really the intent is to maintain the historic revenue generation, because the revenue that the CLE program brings in is used to support the Chief Justice's Commission on Professionalism and the Equal Access to Justice Commission, and also is excess revenue is used to support the State Bar's Lawyer Assistance Program. And so we want to maintain that revenue, but we're not looking to increase that revenue. Those are the big changes. There are lots of other changes. We've changed the definition to the substance abuse mental health hour just to modernize it with modern medical language. And it's called now the professional well-being hour. If you're a board certified specialist, this does not change any of your requirements to maintain your specialty certification. So make sure you stay on that. Our directory is going to we're going to change our course directory search so you can search by cost for programs and find those free courses if that's something that you need to find or interested in finding. On-demand courses for sponsors are going to be approved for 3 years. There'll be an annual renewal fee, but after 3 years, sponsors will need to recertify that information in the program is still relevant and the law is not changed. And that way you don't have a course that's 15, 20 years old in the course directory, an on-demand course that's really not providing you that kind of current legal update that you're looking for. The still, and you may not have known this, but a few years before COVID, the State Bar eliminated the cap on on-demand courses and online courses. It used to be you could only take 6 of your hours on demand, but there's no cap now. So you could take all 24 hours on demand. And we didn't change that because of COVID. We actually changed it before COVID. We thought it was an access issue that If you don't live in one of the big cities that has lots of CLE, live CLE available, it takes a lot out of your practice to have to travel and go to a CLE. And so we lifted that cap. It worked out, was quite fortuitous when COVID hit, that you could take all of your courses online and on demand. New admittees will need to take the new admittee program in that first reporting period once they're licensed. Generally, not much of a change there. Here's a look at the fee schedule. We have the annual fee, the late attendance reporting fee, late compliance, non-compliance, reinstatement. The reinstatement fee is not changed. If you're suspended, you have to pay the $250 reinstatement fee. And then if you're submitting a course from out of state that you've taken that wasn't previously approved, the lawyer can submit those, but it'll be a $25 fee, which is a reduction from the sponsor's $50 fee. There's a general idea of the fee schedule for sponsors. As we said, a $50 program application fee is not dependent on the number of hours of the course, just a flat $50 fee. All right, so in 2024, in order to create this stagger, we had to split the bar in half. And we're doing that by the year that lawyers were admitted to the bar. So lawyers admitted in an odd year, 2015, 2017, 2023, those types of odd years will have a one-time 12-hour, one-year requirement. Typically pretty standard to what you've done in years past. 2 ethics hours, 1 professional well-being, 1 technology hour. After this 2024 period, you'll go into a 2-year reporting period, just like the even years, but that way we'll create that stagger. So it's odd year lawyers, and we'll make sure that everyone knows all of these requirements and gets emails related to this. They have the 1-year, 12-hour requirement for 2024. We chose odd because that way the newly admitted lawyers that come in 2024, since they're even year, they're going to go right to the 2-year reporting period, so they don't have to have multiple sets of rules when they come in to start complying with CLE. So the odd year lawyers were the odd ones out, and so they have the 1-year 12-hour requirement. Even year lawyers are going to go right to this 2-year 24-hour requirement. 4 ethics hours, 1 professional well-being, 1 technology training. So that's the general overview. You'll be able to find some more details in other YouTube videos. I'm going to flip over here and see if we have additional questions. It doesn't look like we have any right now. You can certainly email me, pbolak@ncbar.gov, and we'll put this in the chat for you. And Deborah Holland is our CLE Managing Director. Put her email in the chat as well. If you have questions about the annual report, or if you have questions about the new rules, please let us know. We're going to try to continue to do these YouTube town halls. We're going to try to get some information out on email, do some other videos. But the next few months are going to be a little rocky. We have, to program a new set of rules in our software while also enforcing the old set of rules. So it's going to be rocky. We're going to try to have some flexibility and patience and grace, and hope that you guys can give that back to us and we can all get through this. Once we get later into 2024, everything is going to smooth out. And by the time that anybody has new CLE due in February of 2025, all of this will be working well and very clear to everybody. But in the next few months, we're just going to be busy here at the CLE department, and we're going to hope to get everything squared away and have your portals updated and everything in the next few months. I appreciate everyone coming on. I think we got up, 80 or 90 of you watching today. This video will remain on the site, so if you want to go back and reference it, please do. And we'll be providing more information as we get it and as we know it. As we know some more clarification on any of these particular questions that you have, we'll make sure to get that out. if there is, there was a question on why do we not allow carryover for specialty? Well, I mean, the real reason was we wanted to make sure that lawyers are taking those hours relatively regularly. If you, for instance, if you took multiple professional well-being hours in 2024, enough to carry over, you wouldn't have to take, potentially not to have to take it again until 2028. And so we wanted to make sure lawyers are taking those specialty hours. So when the trends and things change, especially technology, professional well-being, when those new things come up, that you're getting those relatively currently and not waiting 4 or 5 years in between having to take those courses. Question, odd year admittees, 12 hours are due from March 1 to the end of February. That's right. For this one time in 2024, you'll have the 12-hour requirement, 2 ethics, 1 technology, 1 professional well-being. And then beginning March 1, 2025, you'll go into the 2-year, 24-hour requirement. Happy to hang out and answer any other questions that you guys might want to throw into the chat. If there are none, then just feel free to email us or give us a call here at the bar, and we'll try to help and answer anything that you guys have. I don't see any new ones right now, so we'll just go ahead and close out and just email us if you guys have any additional questions. Thanks a lot.